Okay.
All right, I believe Faith, do you want to go first so that we could get your part done?
Sure, I can go first. Let me figure out share my screen. Beautiful. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, there it is. Woohoo. Slide. Can everyone see?
Yes, beautiful.
Beautiful. I might have some typos. I did this at like 7 a.m. this morning.
Nice.
All right. As for my kiddo, oh, maybe we won't. There we go. Okay. Proposal plan, has it changed? Nope. We are sticking with the same UFly progress monitoring. We are, I said at the beginning of the interventions that I was going to try and do a spelling progress monitoring check about halfway through, which would probably be right about now or like beginning of April. I don't have time. We don't have time in the schedule. We don't have time in the school year to do it. So I'm going to omit it, but I am using like her progress monitoring and classwork as my progress monitoring check, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, we're seeing some improvements. It's hard to see with the lessons that we're doing because we use it every single day. So it's not like, oh my gosh, you got it, woo! But it's like you can gradually see it. Um, we're struggling to meet together due to weather and student being absent and all this, but there's some days where she just misses and I can't grab her for intervention, causing problems for the hours. So that's the only weakness to it. Um, growth, there's on the next slide, I've got actual photos and stuff, but we can see the progress that she's made. She's not getting very much faster at reading, but she's more accurate, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
She gets pulled for a reading group with our sped teacher, and that sped teacher told me she's reading fourth grade books, even though her reading level is on like second grade. He said it's very slow, but she's doing it. I'm like, well, that's better than in second grade. I can
Mhm.
tell you that. So she's fluctuating within the third grade level, with progress monitoring on her ORFs and Acadian stuff. She won't be moved to fourth grade till she can hit 100 words per minute. And now she's sitting at 70 to 85 words per minute. It just changes every time we do it. So it's not consistent. Um, here's that data. We have our first recorded intervention on the left, second on the right. Um, I had to omit that recorded lesson one's progress monitoring because I accidentally helped her on it, so I had to omit it,
Oh,
uh,
bum.
which is
Bummer.
absolutely terrible. Um, but you can still see like she's still misspelling some words. She caught herself on some things. But overall she's doing very, very well. Um, and so like on lesson two, we had like it was supposed to say distrust, but it looks like it says like distrust, like it's not a U almost, unless it is a U and she just tried to spell a different letter and wrote over it, which I think that's what she did now that I'm looking at it even
Mhm.
harder. Um, and then also she tried to spell new Knew and then wrote it and knew it was wrong, so she crossed out the K. Um, and it was supposed to say discount, so she forgot the ow sound. She just put O instead of OU.
Hmm.
Um, so she's missing some vowel teams that we're still getting to know. We're still going to continue the UFly progress monitoring. I think it's going to allow her to let it stick, and again, it rolls through the next lesson over and over and over again. But we do cover a lot of spelling in class, so it's pretty easy to do that. So I
Awesome.
think
Nice. Thank you.
my
I
progress.
would love for you to share more about what you're doing with me for progress monitoring, because I feel like that's a piece that I'd like to see just for the UFly piece. So thinking about that, I would love to know more.
Yeah.
Let's see. Share screen. Where am I at? Oh, Lordy B. Sorry, friends. I'm gonna try and figure this out because it's no, I know I'm not trying to minimize. You leave me alone.
Well, while you're talking, I do the U fly in a little booklet, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I've done three. I mean, I don't do every one, and it kind of it does that nice cycle, and it's got such nice spelling and stuff on it that you
Mhm.
can, it just feels good. It's progressive, and you just use the book. It's pretty easy,
Yeah.
but it
So
just
I must be missing something of that because I mean, I do all of the things that are on there, but I'd love to know more
well,
specifically how.
it's in the very, very back. Like I pulled my section out, so I have a different binder. It's
Okay.
actually it's the very, very back of the manual. It's labeled by lesson number, and it tells you what to say, what words, and
That's
um,
awesome. Yeah, I'm not so I've been using what I use. I mean, I use my Wilson, but then I also just use back and forth what we've been working on. So that's kind of awesome. I'd love to
good.
know a little bit more. So I'll be looking for that. All right, so here's G's progress. This guy is rocking it. So my plan has changed. We're moving at a faster pace because we're working more days in the week than we planned. We added an additional day of tutoring in the week to try and cram as much learning in as possible. Using different reading passages than originally planned. I found some of the HMH or IMSE passages did not hit some of the skills as nicely as I wanted them to. So I've been interjecting some Project Read AI in there, which also the thing I like about the other two is a lot of them don't have visuals, or they do, depending upon. IMSE also has some really good books that I like to use because you can see, and I feel like he gets more out of that than just a passage.
Hmm.
Writing has been difficult subject for to tackle just because it's at the end of a lesson, and usually by then he's kind of meh, and I really want to use more SRSD pieces to it, but I'm not sure how to implement that and make that work within my own lesson. So, and then I changed that should what I was using, not was what I'm that was this was on 11:30 last night, or what I was using to progress monitor writing. So after being reminded about the interventioncentral.org.com, the use of the writing CBMs, I decided to use those to track G's progress. So I've been very, very impressed with that. So some strengths we're touching on so many more skills than we ever would have if I was using Wilson, and I'm seeing that in his writing and everything. I'm seeing more of like when we need to reteach or when we need to slow down. We just did lesson 58, which was the long U, the oo, and the U. And for some reason, he's not hearing those. So I ended up just completely redoing a lesson and ended up videoing that second day as my thing because he was struggling really bad. And then just seeing growth in small increments, but still increments that are huge compared to where we were last year. So, finding time to fit in progress monitoring into my lesson plan to keep up with my data points has just been a big thing for me. It's really, truly one of my big things. Otherwise, we're killing it with time. I think we're almost to 15 hours already.
Wow,
Um,
lucky girl.
yeah, we're flying. But I mean, it's been really good though. And I can see him 3 times a week for about 45 minutes. Now,
That's awesome.
the next 2 weeks are going to slow down because it's spring break and we also had catastrophic events this week. So, I mean, those are kind of where we are, but I feel like that's a thing for me, is the weakness of just not being able to get those done in time. I'm always kind of squeezing them in somewhere. So here's his past scores. So you can kind of see from January
Oh, I like how you
to
did that.
February so in D1 he's even here. He's even here. He didn't make goal here, and then now he's shooting up and doing other
Wow.
levels for the phonemic awareness piece.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge. His oral reading fluency was, I think he started at maybe 67 words, and then here he was at like 80, 83. Then he dipped really bad. The last passage was awful. Like we read it and he looked at me and he goes, "None of those words made sense." And I said, "Touche." Can read. But then today's was 93.
Wow.
Like he was beaming with pride. So I'm
Wow.
super proud of that progress. And you can
Are
see
those
his trend line is
codable?
looking. Do what?
Are they decodable or leveled?
No, these are the 5th grade oral reading fluency through FastBridge.
Wow.
So yeah. And I'm like, okay, buddy, hit it, keep going. I said, I'd love to see by the end of this, you hit 100 words comfortably every time. So I'm hoping that we can, that's kind of his little inside goal in his mind, that he wants to get to 100. So, I mean, thinking about that little boy who stepped in my room 3 years ago with 3 words on his ORF, and now we're at 93. I have no complaints.
Yeah, that's spectacular.
Yes. And so then now you can see, here's his writing progress monitoring. So I did total words. I did correctly spelled words, but then I did his big one that we're working on mostly is that correct writing sequence, which he started with 15. The next week, the week after that, he jumped to 26, and we took a couple weeks to get there. And today he had 30, or yesterday he had 33. Like flying.
That's an interesting way to do the chart. Did you see that somewhere else, or did you not concoct, but did you envision this?
I use Google Sheets, and you can make your graphs any way you want to. They're fun.
Maybe you
They're
could give me a
super fun.
lesson. You'll see my
Sure.
thing. I use Google Sheets, but nothing. This
Oh,
is
it's
good.
so
I didn't know how to do
it's
that.
so fun.
Oh,
I
good.
love it. And so then his progress is just continue biweekly. Sorry, my screen is, my camera's over the thing. Biweekly writing CBMs, continue biweekly ORFs, continue to use UFly. I'm hoping that we can get through at least lesson, let's see, 62, which would mean that we are completing all the long vowel sounds, plus then the CE and the DE says J. So that would be huge to get there, because that's going to add a lot of words for him. And then just continue to use those UFly. I use those fluency checks, which I love from UFly, and then taking something. But again, 11:30 at night is not the time to be doing just taking the time to really make sure we're assessing everything right, I think is where I was going with that. So that is what I have so far.
Good stuff.
That's really
good stuff.
That's so exciting.
He's so proud, and I love it. I do. I can't.
I'm going to go next, and I'm going to show you my
I want to see it, and I will help
lame
you.
graphs.
Oh,
Okay. I have to, the way I do it is I have to drop in a table and color it in.
Oh, girl, we got you.
I know.
You're gonna love it.
I don't really know. All right, and tab. Okay, here we go. Sorry, Julie. I hope you don't think I'm cutting in line.
No,
Right.
no.
When you were showing yours, do you see the other people or just your screen?
You will see so you'll get little blocks of everybody on the side here.
On my screen, I don't see that. So I'm just.
But I do see. We see you, so no stress.
You see me, and my screen is sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. All right. So so Maeve is my student, 5th grader. I had the 3 goals set, one for multisyllabic regular words, and she's going to need significant progress to reach even into the yellow, like above average progress. The green category I feel is out of reach. I'll show you her details in a minute. Number 2 is the PASS, so advanced phonemic fluency. And she's making good progress in the areas that we're working in. It was kind of good to put this in a chart because I realized the parts I hadn't been working on with her, and she made no growth in them because I forgot to work on them with her. So, and I'll show you that chart. She's making good progress in the initial blends, like say slow without the becomes so. And her third one is word level accuracy. So I'm using the Wilson charting to gauge that. And so at the word level, she's doing really well. And so just what I want to plug in here is, and I texted her mother earlier tonight, and it's interesting to hear you guys talk about UFly. It's starting to, so I'm such a Wilson acolyte that it's like turning around a cruise ship, but I'm slowly turning it around. Like, we don't have time to stay in the slow pace of Wilson because she's a 5th grader and she's struggling. But I keep saying I don't feel confident to jump into the UFly totally. So let me show you like her ORF. I only have done one passage of that. I didn't do a baseline, which was my error. But she's only at 69 words a minute. So I just snipped and dropped in the cut lines from the chart for Dibbles. We got a mountain to climb. Her accuracy is 91% in the yellow. That's okay. So this is my past chart. So I had to make a table and color it in. I like what you did better, Carolyn. So we worked on, she was at 3 out of 5 words in level K. Now she's 5 out of 5. She was 2 out of 5 level L. Now she's 4 out of 5. And then level M, she was a 0 because I didn't work on any of those skills. So Captain Obvious, right? You got to work on them for her to make growth. But I'm not worried about that. And Sheila has fun doing it. So, and then this is the Wilson chart. So I just made a table out of it. I could have taken a picture and uploaded it, but this was easier. So she's doing really well at the word level. We started at 2.1, which I know isn't, don't tell anybody. And
We didn't hear it.
yeah, I know it's on video. No. So at the word level, she's doing really well. 2.1 are blends and NG, NK words. That's where we are. So anyway, I feel like let's see, how do I stop sharing? Stop sharing. I feel like I asked her mother, I said, are we going to continue to tutor or will this be it? Because if this is it, I'm going to really hit it hard with multisyllabic words and let the Wilson be lower focus.
Mm-hmm.
But if she wants to continue on like for the time being, I might think differently. I might stay with it. So I don't want to jeopardize just because she's a practicum student, the right path for her. So
Right.
we're working on it. She went up for an IEP a couple weeks ago and they denied her. Even though she's a super overcompensator, she can do really well in other areas, but you can see her word level deficits showing a lot of dyslexic tendencies. So we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe a 504. Maybe you can push for that 504 for other things. I don't know though. It's so hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
So I'll keep you posted on that. But thanks.
Do.
All right, Julie, do it.
So I have 12 tabs open and I'm going to share screen, but I'm just going to click on the one I want and hope it works.
Okay.
I love that.
That's what I did.
Okay, we'll see. Oh, okay. Maybe this will work. All right. Do you see it?
You see it.
We see it.
I see it.
Mine is very basic because this is Cece. She's 4th grade dyslexic ADD. Goals were increased decoding and encoding, and we definitely were the multi-syllable. So she is one that can read in context really well, but slow because she guesses extremely well. It came out on those 5th grade level comprehension, but she spells and decodes at a 2nd grade. So I had to put her in word only without context. And so when you all see my video this time, I am in word connections now more than UFly because they have a ton of prefix and suffix. I've never used it, but it's so many words. It's just, I love it. I used to be a syllable type person and I'm not anymore with it. It is phenomenal the way it has you combine and make words. So today she's like midnight, pre-cycle, like she's making up words with the prefix and suffix. And the program's like, it's okay if they're non-words. The idea is she's seeing how to chunk them and using meaning, So anyway, so she is, spelling is our big push. Because decoding needs to be more, she needs that fluency to raise, but it's because of the multi-syllable and the ADD. She zooms past things and gets it. So Dibbles, we had really nice movement, 4th grade level, 59 to 94, but the accuracy jumped.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really good. She's not guessing, she's just getting it now. But and then that UFly progress monitoring, 80 to 100% on the 4. But the interesting thing is, I don't know where I read it, but I really thought it's you being an older student, you have to start later in UFly to try to get to the syllable. So I started her, which meant I had to fill in gaps. And so on that UFly progress monitoring, we get errors, and she's like, why is there a GU? Well, we skipped that lesson. We skipped DGE.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we skip. And I guess it's the age. I'm so used to younger, but she just grabs them really, really well. So,
Good.
and you know how UFly has that review built in, the visual and the auditory. And so they're constantly seeing all of it. And I guess that's the point, because it's really working. So here's and if you will have any suggestions, written expression, I was trying it was kind of one of the CBMs that you count the number of words, then you count the number of letters, and it's a 3-minute. And so the idea is if she'll use bigger words, it's going to show up in her letter count. And then of course, number of words spelled correctly, but she's a really resistant writer. And so I've done that a few times, and it's not showing growth, but it's also not, her frustration is she can form and plan a paragraph really well verbally. But when it comes to writing, even 3 minutes, she just kind of melts. So I don't think, I don't really know the why. She just knows she doesn't like to write. I mean, she just, and then, so it doesn't match her verbal, of course, but it's also, spelling doesn't matter on those. You're just trying to see a process. So I've got to do more writing, but I don't know. I don't know.
Could you try a speech to text on the
Yeah.
computer and
Yeah.
see if
And
she enjoys it more?
She did really well on it. And maybe I need to do more of that, because not only did she do well on it, she edited on her own, which I'm
Because
about
then she had the mental load, she had some space on the.
I was going to say that was my initial thought as soon as you said it was,
Yeah.
she needs to do speech to text,
and
because it sounds to me like if that is so tasking on her, she's not wanting to write words, but she has all these wonderful ideas and creative thoughts. She needs to have an outlet.
So
Yeah,
then
that would be my recommendation.
So my goal will change and it not be about spelling and editing. You can still do that, but I really want her to just fulfill her idea that she'd already presented and fully develop it, which is what she did. We've only done speech to text once, and it was on a Zoom day, which I do Google Meet because I can't do Zoom very well, and it's not free at my school anymore, so we don't use it. But on Google Meet on a snow day, she did so well. And you're right. You know what? That cognitive load is relaxed. She's a bright cookie to comprehend at 5th grade level, but spell at a 2nd grade and decode at a 2nd grade. So
yeah.
So what do you think? Then my goal, is that right? That it'd be more about completion, longer sentences, more content.
Could you use that she's how many, like in this case it would be more about total words written.
Yeah.
And
I can use that.
or total words
generated.
Yeah.
So
and so the same format, just make it about it's still the same. It's just a different vehicle, right?
Yep.
Could it also include correct sentence structure? Like she's got
I was wondering maybe she
pick
just
3
did like
elements to look for, like subject, preposition.
well, and if you just did
Well, the one I read said really you don't even have to get that detail, because if you do the number of words and it's a 3-minute, which I didn't do it wasn't a 3-minute when I did it by Zoom. It really is how much can she produce, and then you do the letter count, and so a bigger word gets worth more. So okay,
I mean,
well, I
that would definitely
experiment with that.
Adjust it for once and see how it works out.
Yeah, and I want
manageable for you too.
I want to understand what in the world, like the melting is unreal. And she's a dramatic child, but sentences she does fine. It is a paragraph that does it. It doesn't. She'll do today. She did like 6 sentences. No issue.
Does she know how to type? Maybe she could type it.
Not great.
Okay.
I would say spoken would be
teach
the
the
best
text
way to
it.
go about it.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe a perimeter is a main idea with 3 details.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
letter count.
And you could do like the correct mechanics, like capitalization, punctuation, syntax, semantics, all the things. I can't think right now. My brain is.
If it would certainly, you don't write that much in 3 minutes. Like it would be an easy thing to move.
I think it's okay.
Well, and that's kind of that's why I ended up doing the writing CBMs was because I felt like I needed to see if he was getting more words on paper, if he was getting more words spelled correctly, but also if it was following the proper sentence structures. So that's a big thing. I've just sent you all a message.
Okay.
So we have to schedule our meeting with our group and be sure your leader records it. Done. Please talk about any feedback given so far on candidate to candidate videos where you need some clarification. Does anybody need any clarification?
Also, I wanted to apologize for my video and the lack of audio. I forgot to put it when I uploaded it to iMovie. I forgot to make it to where the audio was like on 400%.
Oh, I didn't. It was fine.
That was my fault. So the one that you're about to watch is going to blow your ears away because
Okay.
I also told her, I said, speak up.
Yeah.
And so now it's extra loud.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks for the warning.
I can't remember if it's my candidate to candidate or if it's my recorded lesson, but Grayson took a handful of goldfish and put them in right as we started reading words. So don't feel bad.
Too funny.
I'm like, Grayson, stop.
All right. I was wondering, do you guys mind before we hang up? Can we share our phone number, our cell numbers?
Absolutely.
Sometimes I want to text you guys with a question, but I'm like, I don't want to open up
let's see if we can get it in a chat.
Okay.